Hello everyone. So I want to start off with a story. It takes me back 2.5 years ago. I commute to work every single day. It takes me an hour to get to work, an hour from work. And I always take the subway, take the train. And 2.5 years ago, there was this man who would sit there by the station looking like a tramp, shriveled, smelt badly, dressed poorly, and he just simply grossed me out. So I would just not look at him, not even glance at him, run down the steps, into the station, down the escalators and into the train. And I did this for a while. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I can say good morning, I could smile, I could nod. And I started doing that. I started paying him some attention. And I noticed as time went on, his persona started to change. He started to have a haircut. He started to dress normally, shower, smell normally, and he looked like a regular human being. Early December of this year, he pulled me over before I went down the steps. And he said to me, "Do you celebrate Xmas?" And I said, "No." And he gave me a paper typed out, and it read the following: "Before Xmas, I want to take the time to thank those who with a smile, a kind word of good morning, have a good day, or even a nod of the head, have not just changed my day, but changed my life." And why am I telling you this story? Well, I find it very touching, of course, but I'm telling it to you because it connects to two things that we're going to be talking about today. Firstly is the effect that clothes have on one and on those around us. When you dress with dignity, people treat you with dignity, and you act with dignity. And number two, working on our character traits, working on our midas. Now, we know in the Torah how Moshe Rabbeinu tells Hashem, if you don't forgive Klal Yisrael, if you don't forgive the Jewish people for the sin of the golden calf, for the Chet HaEgel, then erase me from your Torah. But we have a question. Why out of all parshas in the Torah is Moshe erased in this parsha which speaks about the Big Kahuna, the vestments, the priestly vestments? Why this parsha? That's our first question. Second question is, we know that it says in the Gemara that when the Kohanim are not wearing their garments, they're not Kohanim. Obviously, this doesn't mean that all the halachas, all the laws that apply to the Kohanim don't apply, like that a Kohen can't marry a divorcee. It's not talking about that. What it's saying is that the garments of the Kohen are essential to their avodah, are essential to their service. And we have another question. What is going on with this fixation with clothing? Now, one final question. Why are we here? So, the teretz, the answer to the final question is, we're here to connect to Hashem, to achieve dveikus, to achieve attachment, deep attachment to Hashem. Rameya says in the Gemara that the Jewish people are unique because we're self-contained. What does that mean? Where is this attachment found? Where is this connection? How does this connection come about? The answer is within our souls. That's what it means by we're self-contained. Every Jewish person has an neshama that was blown into him through Hashem. As it says in Tanya explains elsewhere, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, 1745 to 1812, he explains that the difference between speaking and breathing. Speaking, Hashem spoke, Hashem said, "Vihi or, let there be light." Light came out. Everything else was created through speech. And you can speak and speak and speak and speak. You might lose your voice, but it's not so hard. When you take a deep breath and you blow a balloon, after a number of balloons, it's tiring, it's hard. You can't blow like you can speak. Hashem blew our souls into us. We are part of Hashem. And within our neshamas, that is where the connection takes place. But here we reach a difficulty. We have this amazing neshama, this amazing part of Hashem, where this connection can take place, and that's the point of being in this world. But guess what? This neshama is so not tangible. It's so beyond our reality. And it's interesting that in Hebrew, the word to term Hashem, the best way to term Hashem is Ein, like the Ein Soif. That's the term that we use for Hashem. When we achieve Devekus, when we achieve this cleaving to Hashem, is termed as Ein. But Ein means nothing. Why? Because our neshamas, which are so beyond us, are like nothing. It's so not within our reality. You see, it's interesting because when Adam and Chava, when they sinned with the tree of knowledge, when they sinned with the Chet Eitz Hadas, Hashem clothed them in kosnos ar, and ar is ayin vav reish, clothing of skin. We also know, we learn, that, and in Kabbalah, that we have kosnos ar, clothing of light. So we have two types of clothing. Now, what is the purpose of clothing? Because with clothing is how, we're going to discuss, is how we connect to our neshama. And we're going to explain what it means by connecting to our neshama and how we tap into our neshama. We have everything inside of us, we don't know how to tap into it, through clothing. So what does clothing do? What is the purpose of clothing? And we'll go on to these two types of clothing. Firstly, there's two aspects on clothing. Number one, clothing hides your nakedness, and through doing so, it reveals something which otherwise you can't reveal. So let me give you some examples. Let's say you see a stewardess in the airport. You need to ask what she does. You see a uniform, you know exactly what she does, right? A policeman. Unless it's Purim, you know what he's doing, right? Now, it's interesting, according to halacha, women have different sneas guidelines. Sneas could be translated as modesty, or better accurately, more privacy. And what do we have to, it's not what do we have to hide, what do we have to reveal? We have to reveal our hands and our face. Why? Because the face shows facial expressions, a smile, and the eyes, which are the window to the soul. The face, the eyes are who we are. That's what you need to show people. That's what you need to reveal, who you are. What are the hands? The hands is what you give, your endeavors in the world, who you are and what you give. Now, clothing also expresses our worldviews. Let's say someone's into hip culture or into gothic or something. They'll dress in a certain way. They dress like a hipster. You straight in that way know what their values are, what they believe in, right? Now, ideologies. So that's what clothing does. Now, it's interesting how the kosnos are, the clothing of light, which we have, is a way of expressing our neshama. Let me explain to you how this comes to play. So, have you ever wondered, if you, let's say, would shake Abba Minim tonight, do you think anything spiritual will happen? Do you think you'll create any malach, any angel up above? Do you think there'll be a spiritual achievement of you shaking Abba Minim? No. If you shake it on Sukkot, something amazing happens. Why? Why if you have a Seder tonight, nothing happens? You have a Seder Pesach night, everything happens. Why is that? Because of the kosnos are, this clothing of light, which gets brighter and brighter with every mitzvah that you make, that you do. You see, mitzvah, the Zohar Kadosh says, comes from the word savsa, connection and attachment. A mitzvah is our tool to express our neshama. Mitzvah, the Me'onaim says, comes from the word zevois, which is a team. Not a similar way, how we're a team with Hashem. These are ways of expressing. Kosnos R with an aleph is our clothing of light which expresses our neshama. Then we have another set of clothing. Kosnos R, ayin, vav, reish, with an ayin, the clothing of skin. That does something else. That hides. You see, when we say in davening, and a kind of neshama shenasata bi, the neshama which you are given within me. What do you mean within me? What does that mean? Are we not our neshama? But no, because the kosnos are the clothing of skin. It hides our neshama. That's where personality and character traits come into play. Your personality and character traits are not your neshama. Your midas are not your neshama, right? So it's interesting how in the Torah and the Chumash, there's no mitzvah to be a nice person. Yeah, there's mitzvah of Avos Yisrael, there's mitzvahs of Tefillin, there's mitzvahs of Tzitzis, mitzvahs of Mezuzah. But character traits, avodas mitzvahs, taking our mitzvahs, refining our mitzvahs is so crucial. Why is it not a mitzvah in the Torah? Yes, in Chassidus you see it, Mr. Shalom you see it, Archas Sadiqim you see it, Ramchal writes about it. But why is it not in the Chumash? Now Rizal explains that, sorry, not that Rizal, Reb Chaim Vital, who was a disciple of that Rizal, he explains that mitzvahs, the 613 mitzvahs in the Torah, are all about expressing on Hashem. But when we say Derech Eretz Kadmon Torah, first you need to have Derech Eretz, you need to be a mensch, and only then can you have Torah. That means you jolly well need to work on your clothing of skin before you can achieve clothing of light. You need to ensure you have the Kosmos R, Ayin, Vav, Reish first. Now, the clothing of light and the clothing of skin can be divided into 4 sections. The clothing of light is basically thought, when you think about a mitzvah, speech, davening, learning, praying, learning Torah, using your mouth to do a mitzvah, action, physically doing the mitzvah, and the desire to do a mitzvah. That's the 4 sections in the clothing of light. Now we have the clothing of skin, also 4 sections. The 4 main sections are Anidus versus Gaia, which is humility versus arrogance. Extrovert versus introvert. 3rd section, Simcha versus Marirus, happiness versus depression, and bitterness. And the 4th is the 4th section. Will come to me, sorry. Those are the 3rd chapters. When I think of the 4th section, I'll say it. Just like my mind straight away here. So, okay, 3 sections we mentioned. Now, the Kohen wore 4 garments, right? Why does he wear 4 garments? Because he is perfecting these 4 sections, these 4 levels of clothing of light, and also clothing of skin. But the Kohen Gadol wore 8. Why did he wear 8? Because he's doing it in more detail. Now, the Beis HaMikdash is the place on earth where we see Ein, where we can connect to the deepest level of Hashem, right? And it's this place where the Kohanim, where the priests would offer sacrifices, would offer kabbalas and mizbeach, and try to achieve in the best way possible Ein. How do they do this? Why do they do this? Why do they need to wear their garments? Because their garments, their clothing is reflecting this perfection of these levels of Kosmos R, with Kosmos R with an Ayin and Kosmos R with an Aleph. Now, we have a question. Out of all the people mentioned in the Torah, who is the person that is described as the indescribable, as the Ein? Who is the person who is described as complete bottom, complete self-nullification, perfection, and tapping into that nothingness, that Ein within themselves, and tapping into the art inside? Who is described? Moshe Rabbeinu. He's not like any other prophet. That is why his name is not mentioned in this week's parashat of all parashas. Because there's a Moshe Rabbeinu in every single generation. And there is a Moshe Rabbeinu within us. And we need to tap into the Moshe Rabbeinu within us. And I want to finish off with a story. There was a chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek. And he would travel on business to big cities in Russia and also foreign cities. And he would always wear his Chassidic garb whenever he would go for a private audience, whenever he would go through for Yechidus with his Rebbe, with the Tzemach Tzedek. After a while of going on business, he started to get, easily swayed into dressing differently, and he would dress in his business attire when he would do business trips, and he would dress as a chassid when he would come to his Rebbe. Came to a point, and he came to his Rebbe in business attire, and he said, Rebbe, it's enough of me being a hypocrite. When I dress in my business clothes when I'm in business, I need to dress this way when I'm here as well. And the Tzemach Tzedek looked at him and said, Rabbi Yankel, you think I don't know what you wear when you go to Leipzig and when you go to Paris? I thought that here in your chedus with me you were your true self, and there you were the hypocrite.